Okay. You ready? Good evening. I'd like to call to order this business meeting of the Cave Creek Unified School District. Today is Tuesday, June 10th, and it is 6:04. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Item 2.3, roll call. All members of the board are present. Members of the cabinet present are Dr. Plutnik, Dr. Hendrickson, and Mr. Dolezal. Item 2.4, formal adoption of the agenda. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any changes? Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. All right. 2.5, President's Report. Well, since our last board meeting, I've been to, Black Mountain had a volunteer appreciation, which actually myself and some other members of the board were actually among those being honored for being volunteers, which I actually didn't think I was a volunteer when I was reading during Read Across America. But apparently I was a volunteer. I attended the Sonoran Trails promotion and Cactus Shadows graduation, and congratulations to all the students who promoted and graduated, and good luck to all of them. 2.6, board comments. Anybody?
I'll say what she said. Besides the Sonoran Trails, I wasn't able to make that, but I did get to go to the Black Mountain volunteer thing and the Cactus Shadows graduation, which is always a highlight. So that's it.
All right. I too, Cactus Shadows graduation, which was great to see that class and their accomplishment. Also got to attend the EVIT graduation, the senior walk, which is always fun. Such a great tradition. Then from there, seniors awards. It was pretty incredible what some of these students achieved this year in scholarships and awards. And then I got to see, went to the LMES talent show, which it's always fun watching the younger ones perform. And some of the talent there is rather impressive. And then DSA family night at the end of the year, as well as Lone Mountain family night. So it was a fun wrap up to the school year.
I attended the final walk for both 5th and 6th graders at Black Mountain Elementary School. Also got to attend the 8th grade promotion, which was actually hosted at Cactus Shadows High School. So that was really neat this year, as they can actually then become a future Falcon for 9th grade. So I liked that new tradition I think that we'll be having. Also did attend the theater gala. It was really neat to see all the accomplishments that those students had, and also got to have Mr. Cupo and all the work that he did and all those awards that he gives to each and every one of those students, and him kind of give his speech there as he'll be going full-time to Sonoran Trails. Also got to attend the senior awards ceremony, and then also, again, graduation for our Falcons is always a highlight of the year.
Also attended senior awards. Yeah, it was amazing what those kids have done and accomplished and what's coming for them. And then the graduation was amazing. And I don't know what it was about this year's group, but I felt like it was one of the most engaged group across the board, with eye contact, shaking hands, smiling. A lot of times they come up there and they don't know you and they're just kind of shy and reserved, but there was just something about this group that was really spectacular in just their engagement, and it was really impressive. So,
Okay. Item 2.7, Superintendent's Report.
President Greer, members of the board, as you know, we had a great end of the school year, culminating with Cactus Shadows class of 2025 graduation at Diamond Desert Arena. Again, we wish them all the best as they continue down their path of their choosing. Currently, CCUSD departments and schools are simultaneously planning and executing plans in order to get ready for the 25-26 school year. Also, just wanted to report that teacher moves had started this week, Monday, with materials and belongings being relocated to their classrooms for next year. And that is my superintendent's report.
Awesome. Thank you. Item 3.1, Human Resources Update on District Office Positions, presented by Dr. Hendrickson.
President Greer, members of the board, thank you for the opportunity to kind of speak tonight about some of the adjustments that have been made and are being made in the various departments across the district. So I'm going to jump right in here. So one of the things that we are always looking at as our efficiencies and as our declining enrollment is making sure that there's that appropriate proportional size of district office personnel, department personnel, in alignment with our enrollment and where it's at. And so, and also in an effort to make sure we're communicating well with the board, with our community, and making sure they're aware of changes and why changes happen. This is kind of the purpose of our presentation tonight. Over the last several years, even well before I was in here, the district office as needs have changed, as enrollment has changed. They've made changes to different positions and either absorbing positions, deleting positions. And so I'm only capturing the last couple years. As I started looking back in several years before, there's positions that were existent in this district for many years that have kind of gone away. And so I'm just going to capture kind of the last couple of years. One of the things that I want you to keep in mind as we talk about kind of downsizing and reclassifying is no matter what size you get to, there are essential functions that must continue within a district. And so we'll talk about what those essential functions are. And so with some of them, you can only get so small. But really our ultimate goal is to operate more efficiently while maintaining, critical areas of compliance, safety, and making sure we're supporting our schools and our teachers with curriculum and professional development there. So over the last several years, many positions have already been consolidated across HR, finance, facilities, transportation, and we're going to highlight what some of those are today. With that, again, as I talked about, critical jobs still need to be done. So individuals take on broader responsibilities, the scopes of their work changes, and we also need to make sure that the job descriptions, when we're hiring or what the person is doing is in alignment, what we're evaluating those individuals are in alignment with those job descriptions. So over the last several months, you've seen us bring some updated job descriptions to the board, and this is kind of tying all that together. The big part of it, too, is making sure that, how are we retaining our staff? How are we making sure that we're providing them the supports, there's cross-training, and really with that institutional knowledge. We have an individual's admin assistant who's retiring after a few decades in our district, who's losing a lot of institutional knowledge that's going to be leaving us, with Lori Hay retiring here soon. And so those are things that the more that we can promote and support our individuals, making sure that we're aligning their job and scope with their responsibilities, and making sure we're supporting them helps with that retention factor there. So kind of as we talk about our essential functions, when you look at HR, staffing, benefits, compliance, and those change over the years with new responsibilities put on us from the Arizona legislature. Same with finance, as you see with Dr. Pletnick's reporting that he has to do, and new audit findings or new audit results where you have to change what you're reporting, how you're reporting and disclosing things. So those will have to continue. Our facilities department, Mike Santina does a great job with school safety, maintenance, and that capital planning, working with our SFD to find ways that we can make sure that we're getting additional funds and maintaining our buildings. Transportation is always a big department with routing, safety inspection, compliance there, making sure we're getting our kids to school, and they've done a phenomenal job despite loss of drivers and a shortage of drivers there. And then Ed Services under Dr. Jensen's department, that curriculum assessment and professional development, things that have to go on and make sure our teachers are the best prepared to support our students in their learning. So I'm going to do a kind of an overview of department by department kind of changes that have been made and that over the past several years, and more specifically some that have more recently been changed. So as you recall, last governing board meeting, we took several new job descriptions. And so what we've done in our finance department, business services, is we have reduced a position. In finance, there's a lot that has to do with separation of powers and duties, things like that are required by the auditor and the attorney general. And so we want to make sure that those jobs match what the work that they're doing is. And so we've seen a reduction in that department there. And so we haven't added any positions into this department. We've simply changed titles based on what the work that the individuals are doing there. So Ed services, we've seen several changes over the last couple of years. We used to have 2 different executive directors. We had a cabinet of 5 individuals. That cabinet's reduced now to 4 individuals. So we've kind of changed that executive director title role. We've eliminated 1 administrative assistant that worked with that department. So there's that 1 remaining. And then an additional administrative assistant that worked with AOE. AOE is moving to our alternative program, and that principal will oversee AOE and the implementation and the students working there. So with that loss of a person that was in that position, not needing a reason to refill that position. So again, capturing some of those funding sources back. ESS, we have done some changes there where we used to have a secondary coordinator, elementary compliance, and so we've reduced those as we've lost positions over the years. Bringing back an ESS manager that will really oversee the business side of ESS and the grants and whatnot, and so that's a position that's been changed there for that department. Facilities, we've seen quite a few changes. Each site used to have a plant manager and then custodians. Mr. Santina has done a great job with really aligning his resources and his individuals. And so we've actually moved away from the plant manager role responsibilities, kind of putting more work on our custodial teams. We've done some things where our maintenance guys will do kind of plant manager work at a site, but then also have their maintenance tasks that they're doing there. And so we've seen reductions there over the last couple of years. And then finally, with our HR department, we have been without a sub-coordinator for the past year, and so those roles and responsibilities have moved on to the coordinators, and then just some title changes that have happened in the past, and that we are moving forward with some title changes there for individuals based on new responsibilities that they maintain. So with any and all of these departments, again, no additional people, no additional positions, just reclassifying the work that those individuals are doing. And then finally, transportation. We've consolidated our dispatcher, router, office coordinator position into a transportation coordinator of operations. And then we've had our trainers. We've had multiple lead trainers that we've consolidated into a safety and training coordinator. Again, reducing 2 positions in that department. And again, I think right now we're looking to still fill that mechanic 2 position. But again, finding that we want to make sure that we have that balance with what are the needs based on enrollment with what is the supports that we need to have available. So again, as we continue to move forward, as we continue to evaluate enrollment in the future, as we continue to get vacancies in positions, as a cabinet, we're looking at every single position and where do we have vacancy savings, where can we consolidate, where can we make adjustments in order to make sure the support side of what we do is that right size, similar to what we do with our sites. And so moving forward, we may see changes in the future as we make sure that we have that balance of supports with enrollment and where we're at with it. So that's just a quick highlight of what we've done over the last couple of years. Again, there's more that was done prior to even me. We used to have a director of world languages, several coordinators within our teaching and learning department. As those have gone away and we've consolidated, we just have individuals that pick up those pieces there. So with that, I will turn it over to any questions.
Well, and I just wanted to comment too that there's an item later in terms of making clear on the HR that that's not a new position coming up later. And again, we heard from last time that, so we're going to do our best to be more clear up front when this is just we're not hiring someone new. We've reallocated the roles. We're looking to become more productive within our roles and give those responsibilities out, so it's more clear for both you and the public in general that this is not, we're not creating new positions. We're not bringing in more people from the outside. These are just a realignment and a reassignment. So hopefully this was helpful, and yes, please, any questions are welcome.
Yeah, the only update in action consent 4.7 was just one in your department, right?
Correct. Yep.
That was that director of, or can you go back to the slide?
It was the manager.
Yeah,
the
manager.
Right?
Yep.
HR manager.
HR manager. Yep.
So coordinator dies off now, just goes manager.
Correct. Yep.
Got it.
Correct. Yeah. And really, I think with any, I can speak to because I live human resources and I work closely with Dr. Pletnick, with changes with certification, with international teachers, with responsibilities with finance, every new statute that comes out, there's more responsibilities that we got to make sure we're checking all the boxes. For instance, you guys will all be trained later this summer on mandatory reporting as a new statute that all falls under my department. So, we want to make sure we are being effective with what we have to do while also absorbing new responsibilities that come our way that are meant, to keep kids safe and teachers doing their jobs. So,
Yeah, this was helpful. So
Good.
again, that
Thank you.
perfect.
Real quick, one thing that kind of sometimes happens when we do all this consolidation, and like you said, there's essential skills that have to continue on, is that we can have some administrative staff that starts to really get burdened by a lot of stuff is getting placed on them now. Do we have a mechanism in place where we can kind of keep a track on that and see this person is doing way too much now? We might have to either split this out, or maybe we do have to get another person to split this so that we don't burn out our administrative staff too quickly.
Absolutely. So one of the things that we're doing is working with Hanover, the research firm, is making sure, do we have ratios for every type of position? And, we have ratios in our classrooms for number of students, the number of teacher allocations, but we really don't have those developed in, how many admin assistants or lunch aides or administrators based on your size. And so that's one of the things that we need to capture is what is that actual number. Not a lot of districts have those formulas, and so making sure we have those formulas. But then, it is working with, as us being the supervisors of those different departments, is making sure we're having those conversations, we're understanding the scope of the work of those individuals, and to find out, are we being efficient? We may be efficient, but are we being effective, and how are we measuring that? So that's something that we're constantly looking at. For instance, with our ESS department, we've lost that ESS manager that used to kind of be in that role that did the business side of it. We saw that without having that takes an impact, and it takes an impact on the finance department, who's having then to work with ESS on that, and they're not necessarily experts on there. So we definitely evaluate all the time and get feedback from kind of the directors in those. But having those formulas for those positions moving forward, I think that's going to be extremely helpful to know that if a school's at this number of enrollment, here's the basic levels of support that we need to make sure we have. And so. Yeah.
Well, and Member Fortney, I just wanted to add as well that I think your point is valid and a big one, and I think that's where, based on feedback that we're getting from our departments here, that we would come back to you and go, look, we tried this, we thought this was going to work, it's not. So we would come back to you and ask we would like to add a position. This is the reason why. These are the supports. Here's where maybe we've seen our department falling short, and we need to shore up those things for the betterment of students or financiers or human, whatever that is. But we would come back to you asking for that additional position. Then it wouldn't be a change like we've done recently. It would be us coming back and saying, hey, we tried this. We thought it would work. We've realized through feedback and our customer service or whatever that's not at the level that we expect, and we would ask for another position at that point in time.
And if I can add to Mr. Dolezal's point, one of the things that we do also have in place is we have internal mechanisms that when there is a need or a suspected need, that there's a process it goes through. Number one, is it within whatever established ratios that we have? Is there a rationale for that need? That comes through me. Then goes to finance to saying, is there a budget for this? Do we have the capability of out of our M&O or whatever account? So then that goes to Dr. Pletnick that says, yeah, we see the need. There's funding for it. We may have to tweak some things around. Ultimately going to Mr. Dolezal, Dr. Dolezal, and then ultimately to the board. And so we always make sure we have those checks and balances in place and being very strategic when we do need to add positions, but also being consistent across the board, saying, oh yeah, this place needs it, but they asked for it and they didn't get it. So make sure we have a fair and consistent process with it.
And then do you feel like on the roles that are open right now, those are going to get filled, or are you struggling to find people? Because Director of Transportation is open, right?
Yeah, Directors of Transportation. I know Dr. Pletnick was interviewing recently, or yesterday and today we're getting with that. We just had a great science teacher that applied. I know it doesn't have to do with these positions.
That's great.
That applied at the high school. Really impressive. I'm excited for them. But, we do find with some that they can be a challenge, and that's where we work with how do we market those positions? How do we, look outside of the traditional avenues that we do? LinkedIn is a huge way to be able to post job positions to, someone that may be a mechanic that doesn't necessarily never thought about working in a school district. They work at an auto body shop. And so how do we use those other platforms to post and advertise those positions?
Nice.
So.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 4, action consent. Is there a motion?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. No old business. Item 7.1, preschool.
Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed that. We have call to the public. Are there any? No. We have none. Okay. Item 7.1, preschool rates for the school year 25-26, presented by Dr. Hendrickson.
President Greer, we move that the governing. President
Greer, we move that the governing board approve the preschool rates for school year 25-26 as presented. As a quick reminder, this is the expansion that we're looking to do of preschool offerings in our district, really looking at the market share and making sure we're competitive and being more effective with our preschool offerings while also offering a better value.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Item 7.2, approval of an award performance-based pay for the superintendent pursuant to ARS Section 15-341A 39, presented by me. First of all, we need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Okay.
What was the motion that you're making? There was no motion made.
I'm sorry. The state allows us to award up to 20% for a performance-based pay, which is based on the superintendent's evaluation. Given the economic status of our district, I would like to make a motion that we do a 3% performance pay as the based on the performance pay. So that is the motion. Is there a
So moved.
second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
President Greer, members of the board, first and foremost, again, thank you for approving performance pay, which I believe is actually a testament to the work of the entire CCUSD staff during the 24-25 school year, because without them, it would not be possible. I wholeheartedly believe that it is essential that we embody our district theme and move forward together. In that spirit, and given the need to make difficult budgetary decisions, including consolidating schools and not providing raises to all staff groups this year, I respectfully decline accepting additional compensation. Thank you again for your support and honoring the work that together we accomplished this year, and I look forward to the good work that we will accomplish in the year to come.
Okay. Item 8, adjournment. Is there a motion?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, we are adjourned and it is 6:30.